Afternoon, Steve. I'm just starting off with some team news as per usual. Danilo and Serge Aurier, how are they?
Serge is closer than Danilo. Danilo's gonna be out for a few weeks yet. Serge is, like I said, getting closer. It's one that we're trying to push as hard as we can without taking any unnecessary risk. And we'll see how that goes.
You mentioned post-match against Burnley that Uli Bolly was not feeling well.
Yeah.
How is he now? Has he recovered?
Well, he's back with us. Yeah, I mean, he took a bit of a hit with the illness, which can take a little bit of recovery time. So there's another one that we're sort of monitoring daily, but he is back with the group. Yeah.
Any other injury concerns?
No, not from Felipe is still managing a knee situation from coming back with the group, but something that we're constantly having to monitor and manage. But nothing new from the game on Monday night.
Now that stuff is out of the way, Steve. It was 2 years to the day you were appointed Nottingham Forest boss, so congratulations on your anniversary. I just wonder, are you ever able to step away for a moment to appreciate kind of from where you've taken the club in 2 years? You know, from the journey.
No, I feel exactly the same today as I did on my first day 2 years ago, and that's just in how we get better and how we improve. Of course, over the 2 years, my fondness for the club and my feeling for the club has grown, and you always hope for that to continue. But while that has happened, the responsibility gets bigger. The want to improve increases, and that's where my mentality is. So the intention from day one was to work hard, to do your best, but also to try and improve and have an influence. And the moment you stop doing that is the moment I think that them things don't happen. So if anything, all of that feeling has increased, and I'm only looking forward. I'm not one for looking back. It's a job that I love, and it's a city that I really enjoy being part of, but I also know I'm here with a responsibility to do the best job possible for the football club, and that's always to improve and to be ready for the next game. So no, that's enough said on that. The only thing in my mind is the toughest game in the world, which is Man City away on the weekend, and that's the only thing that I'm concerned about.
As you mentioned, looking ahead to the next game, let's do that. Does that 6-0 from last season still sting, or do you approach this one without thinking about that and just prepare a bit differently?
Yeah, good question. I don't think it's something you should forget. As difficult as what that night was, you should always look to learn and move forward. Listen, Man City, wherever you play them, but particularly at the Etihad, is, as I said, for me the toughest game you can play in domestic football. And you can go there and play well and still be on the back end of a difficult result. That's the reality of the level that they can play at, you know, and we are fully aware of that. But you have to go there with ambition, you have to go there with a confidence, you have to go there with a mentality that you can be at your best, and then things will unfold, you know. So we're under no illusions how tough the game is, but we also know that we are in a good mindset at the moment, and we just, like I've said in the last couple of weeks, we're only thinking about ourselves. We're only thinking about how we can have the impact and influence that we want. If that's enough on a day, great, and it might not be, particularly on days like playing Manchester City away, but at least we're in control of that, and that's what our approach will be. But huge respect and admiration for Pep and Man City and the level they play at, and what they did last season and continue to do. But at the same time, you have to go there, as I said, with ambition, trying to give the best account that you can.
And just finally from me, Steve, we spoke a lot about the different new signings this summer. I want to ask you about Matt Turner, because we had the pleasure of speaking to him yesterday. He's a great communicator, but he was really talking about relishing being a number one again in his career at the moment, of course. Just what has he added to the change room? What have you seen from him?
Yeah, well, I think everyone knew that after the end of last season that we needed to add to the goalkeeping part of the squad. and we feel like we're in a really strong place now with Matt, obviously Wayne and Ethan is still with us from last year. We've added Odoi, which we're equally delighted with, and it's a really competitive area of our squad, and that's what we want. We want that all over the squad. So, but Matt's played, and it's really interesting that from last season and this season we've brought a lot of players in that have come to the Premier League for the first time, whether they've come from other top leagues around Europe or a step up, and we've learned that whatever you've done before, when you come to the Premier League and play for the first time, it takes getting used to, because English football, Premier League, the way the games are supported, the way the games are refereed, it's completely unique and different, and there's always an adaptation and a transition period for a player to get used to the level. Some adapt really quickly, some take a bit more time, and I think we've got good examples of all of that and everything in between. So, but for Matt, he's definitely settled into the group. He's a really good lad, very good work ethic to training, really bought into the objectives of the club and the values, and is interested, and he's really good to work with every day, and we're really happy with him. Don't want to say too much, because you want your goalkeeper to play well in the next game, of course, and let's hope we can support him to do that. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, Naz.
Hi, Steve. You okay?
Yeah, you?
Yeah, very good. In terms of from a coach's point of view, purely from a coaching perspective, how excited do you get pitting your wits against arguably one of the greatest coaches on the planet and playing in that environment and preparing a team to go up against Pep? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you really enjoy the process of coaching and preparing for a game, and excited. I'm not sure that's the word I would use about how I feel, because you're so in the moment and focused that that sort of overrides everything else. You're just concentrating on the process of trying to get ready for the game and supporting the players, and hopefully getting a plan together that everybody can commit to. So there's always differences to every game that you play, and you have to recognise that for me it doesn't get any tougher than the next one. But at the same time, you have to go there and back yourselves and believe in yourselves. And I repeat, we could be at our very, very best, and it might not be enough. But we've got to be at our best to give ourselves a chance, and that's what we aim to do.
In terms of the players you brought in, Daniel mentioned some of the new signings. There seems to be an added zip and pace about you with Callum and Morgan and Anthony on the other side. That's a real bonus, isn't it, for you? And that's going to be a threat going forward for you.
I hope so, and that was definitely the intention of bringing all of the players in, was to improve the squad and to give ourselves a bit more variety. There's a balance to that, and I keep using the word transition, but I think that's right. Things don't just happen. We saw that last year more than once. There was the start of the season where we signed players and we had to take a little bit of time to become something, and I found ourselves doing that again after we picked up a load of injuries, and I think there's a little bit of that feeling at the moment, but while knowing there is a bank of work with a lot of the players already there that we have to continue with as well. So we're always trying to find the right balance. Just explain to Daniel and yourself that new players coming in doesn't mean that they're going to hit the ground running straight away and play well. I think you saw that the other night at Burnley. There was a lot of change for us in the game, the formation that we played, players making their Premier League debuts for us, players playing in England for the first time, players playing next to somebody, say, in midfield or for the first time, and there was no way that there was going to be a complete performance. I'm really pleased that there were some positive signs, but I also know that there was some parts of the performance that we looked fairly new and fresh, and when it's like that, then it takes a bit of getting up to speed. So we have to balance all of these things. Eventually, we really want to become a squad that is full of time together and experience and good connections and relationships, and that's what we want to do. We're not in that place now. We're further down the line than what we once were, for sure, but we also still have a percentage of the group that is new and is finding out how we work and how we play, how they can be themselves and be at their best as well. And that's going to take a bit of time. But at the same time, we've got to pick up points along the way. We've got to win enough games and get the right amount of positive results to allow all of that to happen. And that's a sort of our daily challenge. But it was one we're enjoying and we're going to commit to.
You spoke after the Burnley game briefly about Callum Hudson-Odoi. Obviously, you've brought him to the football club. How confident are you that he can reach those heights that he reached maybe a couple of years ago and come back to the Hudson-Odoi that we know from those days?
No, it's like any of us in life, it's on us, isn't it? So it's on him, you know, and we will support him, we will help him, we'll push him, we'll be tough with him in the right moments, and we'll be with him at the right moments as well. And all of that, we hope, exists with all of the players. But in the end, you have to, if you want to do something in life, whether it's a football career or coaching career or you guys do as well, you have to do it on your own. So he's no different, but he knows that. He's been great since he's come in. He's trained really well. It was great for him to have some good moments the other night. It was also good to see some of the things that we need to work with him as well. So for me, very calm with him, work hard every day, and look forward to trying to get the best out of him. And if we do, we know we'll have a good player on our hands. But you know, we've got to get to that stage.
Best of luck for the weekend.
You too, Naz. Thanks, mate. Charlie.
I know you appreciate staying in the moment, but can you also appreciate how far you've come as a football club from that defeat at City a year ago?
When you're playing them in a few days, you can't look anywhere outside of the preparation for the game. Charlie, we're still very much in a feeling of striving to improve and get better, and you know, like I said, that's only where my focus is. I'm sorry to sound a bit boring, if you like, but I just think the moment that you are not 100% all in to what's next, you know, you're not at your best in the next game. If we've made improvements, if we haven't, wherever we are, I think it's for the likes of you guys to discuss and, you know, support us to enjoy or to think about how we can improve and all that sort of stuff. But for me, the coaching staff and the players, we have to stay just on track and on task about how we get the best out of every day and get ready for the next game. So all I can say is since that difficult night around about 12 months ago, a lot has happened, you know, good, bad and indifferent. And what we've tried to do and still are is stay pretty level. Don't get too low, and certainly don't get too high, and as I said, commit to what we're trying to do and improve and believe in the plan and believe in each other, and I think that gives us the best chance of improving and getting better. So yeah, it's as straightforward as that, really. Sort of like, as you said in the question, we're living in the moment, and the moment at the moment is trying to prepare for Man City, so there's not much thinking time for anything else.
You've said that the toughest test in domestic football anywhere in the world, and that is some high praise. But is there also a fear that they can be built up to be an even bigger beast than they already are? And is that something that you have to keep in check with your players? I
think there's a balance between respecting how good they are, you know, because you have to, but you also have to continue to believe in yourself, because like I said, if we want to get any success in any game, but we're talking about the next one against Man City, you know, it doesn't happen if you don't believe in yourself and you don't go and make things happen, and this will be no different. So all I'm doing is recognising the level of Man City and what they've achieved. Look at the trophies that they won last year, and the status of Pep, who's an inspiration to us all, or certainly to me. But I go there believing in my team, and hopefully the players go there believing in each other, and take what we can into the game to give ourselves the best opportunity to do well, and that doesn't change. So balance between recognising the opponent, but also how we can perform on the day as well. And that's really, like I said, okay, we're talking about Man City now because that's the next game, but that's what we're trying to do with every game. I think I've said most weeks, one of the things we've definitely increased this year is just understanding how from within is the most important, and we continue that.
Appreciate your time. As Pep said, you've got 2 European Cups, they've only got 1.
I know, but I heard that actually when you mentioned it to me, but I spoke to John McGovern earlier, but he's not available for the weekend, and he's not registered on the 25-man squad. I wish they were available, but unfortunately they're not.
Next season. Cheers, Steve.
Thank you.
Hi Steve, good to see you. Do you come into this game in a strange way on a more equal footing with City, having survived last season, established yourself this season, but also having taken a point off them the last time you played them here?
Equal footing?
Yeah,
Did you
more
just say
equal
that?
footing.
Did you just say that?
Not correct, not exactly equal footing, but more equal footing, having established yourself as a...
They won the treble last year.
You're no longer the new boys, let me phrase it that way.
Listen, they I don't, what's the right term? Like, I repeat, you have to respect how good they are and how good they can be on a day. So we just want to go there, with a plan. You have to have a plan. We have a plan for every game, and sometimes when we deliver them, they work, and it's not always as simple as that. When you don't, it can go the other way. But we will go there with a plan, and part of that plan is trying to really believe in ourselves, and that's the intention. So I've said how good Man City are. I don't really want to say it again, because how many times do you have to say it, and everyone knows. But, like I said, we just really want to go there, giving the best account of ourselves, really believe in ourselves. We're on our own journey, we're on our own path. It's never going to be a straightforward one. But while we're on that journey, we've really got to continue to try and increase the belief in what we do and how we achieve our objectives. And this is just the next step, and how it goes, we'll see. It was a difficult one last year, of course. But we'll have to go there, like I said, with ambition and really believe in ourselves that we can get something in the game. And if we don't believe that, then nobody else will, and then good things don't happen. So that's what we want to try and do.
You mentioned it was quite the experience, obviously, going there last season and the heavy defeat. Did it change the way you worked? Did it change you as a manager at all, going through that?
Well, it was, like I said, it was a really, really tough night. But I know to succeed in life, or in a job, or in an objective, you do have to suffer at moments along the way, and you never look for moments of suffering, and it's never something that you want, but you accept that it happens, and you also accept that it can be good for you, in a strange sort of way. So if that was the case from last year, then that's what we would have tried to have done. And them sort of things can happen at Man City, and I really hope it's not on the weekend, and we'll be doing everything we can, But as I've said, the last thing I want to come across is negative or defeatist, because that's just not in my nature. Hopefully realistic. But you can go there and play it 100% and still not get the result that you want. But we've got to go there trying to play it 100%, and if we do, we give ourselves a chance.
Just on the squad in general, you've got obviously a lot of talent that's come on board this season and last season. For a game like Manchester City away, is it a case of it might not be you picking necessarily players that are in form, but now more than ever for this match, players that can do a job against City away?
Well, we'll see. I think, like I've said, the intention of the evolution of the team is to evolve how we play, the formations, the style. And that's with and without the ball. Sometimes when people talk about a style of play, I think they just think it's with the ball. It has to be equal without the ball as well. But we've given ourselves variety, and we'll try and use that wisely, because, like I said, this is such a tough competition, the Premier League, where you're having to adapt while staying within your ways of working. You're having to adapt a lot, game by game. And the weekend will be no different.
Just a final one on general expectations. Obviously, when you went there more or less towards the start of last season, you're a club that was looking to survive that initial first year, and obviously now you're into the second season in the Premier League. Do you go there with expectations slightly shifted on your players, on yourself?
Well, like I said, it's not just about preparing for the game on the weekend. It's in general. We're just trying to improve and trying to get better, to allow us to improve from last season. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. That's what we want to do, and that's what we're trying to do. But just because we want to doesn't mean it's going to happen. We have to work hard. And like I said, the one of the biggest learnings from last season, and we learned it quickly, was, it's an easy thing to say, was about how tough this league is, and there's zero room for error. You look at the game the other night, we dominate the first phase of the game, come off it a little bit and find ourselves sort of 1-0 down, and then having to show great resilience to get into the game. And there was marginal moments that sort of ended up with the result. So that's just one example. That happens every game, and sometimes it goes for you and sometimes it doesn't. But if you're not concentrated and you're not absolutely in the moment for every second of the game, then you can get punished. And then at the same time, if the opponent drops a little bit, you want to be able to try and do the same to them. And I thought the game the other night was examples of both. So yeah, like I said, we learned quickly last season how ruthless this league is, and to survive and thrive, you have to match that, and like I said, all the opponents you come up against.
Thanks, Steve. Good luck.
You too, mate.
Cameras off, please.
There's one more. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, John.
You're doing it at the back, John?
This is the latest run of a ridiculous run of away games at the start of the season. But is there any discernible advantage to getting, Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, City out of the way by the end of September?
Well, I think once there's Palace is the away game after that, and that's going to be tough, and so on and so forth. So of course, like this some of the games we've played and the one coming up on Saturday are perceived as tough as it gets. There's no doubt about that, but there won't be any easy game this year. If they're games that are out of the way and we manage to get some decent performance and results out of them, then that's good. I guess it's good when they're done, but every away game, every home game will be tough. So the other night, we've still got to go to many other tough places. So yeah, we're just taking it as it comes, Dave. It is, fixture lists are what they are, and you get the fixtures, then you get the change of kick-off times and days, and I think some have been changed. We've got a load of Sunday games on a run, and you just have to adapt to it, and where you go and when you go is the beauty of the Premier League, really. And you see some of the guys that are playing in Europe and some of the schedules, they have to play their games today, for example, and Champions League last couple of days, and League Cup. Okay, that's not something we can talk about, League Cup, because we didn't do very well in it this year, but I just think it's how it is now, and that's why you have to have the squad numbers and strength and depth to just trying to cope with it all. And sometimes the clubs that can adapt the best are the ones who succeed in a particular season, and hopefully we can make some good decisions in doing that as well.